Hello everyone, my name is Andrew Bosher, and today I want to show you how to make a dirty, steezy, sweeping acid type saw wave using the Maelstrom in Reason. And the loop that you heard was something I made for the tutorial real quick, but I just want to show you one of the many ways to obtain a pretty unique type acid sound. So let's get started. I do have a new project opened up here, so just File New or Control N. And I did copy and paste the notes from the previous loop to here, and it's just really simple notes, single sustained notes, and I was using pitch modulation on the notes themselves, but that's just one option of a multitude for this type of patch. It's very versatile, so of course there are no wrong or right answers when it comes to this. So in my new combinator here, in my rack, just create a combinator, right click, Combinator. And in the Combinator, let's start off by creating an instance of Maelstrom, grain table synthesizer. First and foremost, what I want to do is I want to keep this a mono sound basically. So if I play a note while I have another note underneath or on top, it won't re-trigger the envelopes that we're going to be using, but that's just me. You can always turn it off, but for this tutorial, we're going to turn it on. I'm also going to set the polyphony to 1. That way, basically, it only lets us play one note at a time anyway. And then what we're going to do is start off by going to the first oscillator section here. So for Oscillator A, we're going to change it from a sine wave to a sweeping saw wave, which is under the synth section here. Next, I'm going to change the octave from 4 to 2. And always make sure before you get started to right click and reset the device or initialize patch. I forgot to tell you that before, but yeah, make sure to do that. So set it to legato, polyphony 1, change it to a sweeping saw wave, and change the octave to 2. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to set the index to 21. You can always hold shift, click and drag, and get that specific number. And that way, we'll be a little farther ahead in the waveform of where it starts. The motion I'm going to set to 26, so it's going to be oscillating a little faster than normal. Give it a little more motion. Next, I'm going to go to the volume real quick and just bump it up 10 to 100 from 90. And that's just me. You can, set it to whatever you like there. And then what I'm going to do also is I'm going to route the Oscillator A to the filter. It goes through the shaper first, but we're not going to activate it. We're just going to activate this box here so it goes to the filter. And we'll mess with the parameters of filter A here in just a second, but I just want to play out what we have so far to get an idea of where we're going. So a pretty basic sweeping saw. It's almost pretty resonant as is. It's a pretty cool waveform. But what we're going to do is we're going to go to the second oscillator before we mess with the filter here. And we're going to add another sweeping saw on top of Oscillator A here. So click this box on the top left of Oscillator B to activate it. Change it once again from a sine wave to a sweeping saw wave. We're going to set the octave to 2 again. And then we're going to set the index to 19. So it's a little bit less than the index of Oscillator A, so it'll give it a little more width and motion. Won't be as far into the waveform, just a little bit behind. And the motion will be set at 6. So not as fast as the first oscillator, but that really gets things moving with 2 oscillators doing a couple different things at the same time. Now when it comes to Oscillator B, we're actually not going to use the filter at all. We're not going to route it to filter B. We're not going to route it to the shaper to get to filter A. We're not going to do any of that. We're just going to let it be as is. It's more supplementary than anything. But we're going to keep the volumes at 100 for both, but that's completely up to you. So let's play it out real quick just to hear what we got, and then we'll mess with the filter A real quick. So a pretty basic So oscillator B isn't being filtered by anything, so its higher frequencies are being shown and listened, and so oscillator A, however, does have this low pass filter on it by default, since we did route it to that. But let's change the filter A from a low pass 12 to a band pass 12. That way we can cut off the low and high frequencies, and we'll get it moving around as well. So let's set the frequency to about 46, a little lower actually. We're going to set the resonance to 10. Just a little tiny peak. But before we play it out again, let's go to the modulator section here. And let's start off with modulator A. We're going to change the sine curve to basically it's like this curve, a step curve, but it starts large and then goes slow. So the curve number is number 26. So it's quite a few up there. But this is the one that you're going to be looking for, curve number 26. And this is just to modulate the pitch and index and shift and things like that. So I definitely recommend using any and all different waveforms to modulate this sound here. I'm going to activate the one shot and the sync, so that way when I play out the modulation, it will be on time depending on how fast I set the rate. I'm going to set the rate to 3/8, so just a little bit off time instead of a quarter or an eighth. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the modulation to the pitch to positive 27. And that way it'll start modulating the pitch, and you can actually make notes just by playing one note with pitch modulation if you do it correctly. I'm going to set the index modulation to negative 14. That way it steps up and down where the saw wave actually starts. But then we're going to go to mod B real quick, and we're going to set this one to curve number 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, which is a very simple line, very linear line. And we're going to set the sync on, but we're going to keep the oscillator one shot off, or the modulator one shot, I should say. I'm going to set the rate to 1/8, a little faster. I'm going to set this modulation motion to negative 12, so that way it'll slow it down and speed it up a little bit with this curve. And then I'm going to also set the modulation to the filter to 53, and that way we'll start to open up the filter as we play out the notes going upwards. So let's take a listen to what we have with these two mods here. And just like that, with just some simple modulation and layering of a waveform, you can obtain some really nice acid-like sounds, and it's really, really versatile. The one thing I did in the tutorial was I added a scream distortion unit and some reverb. So if you'd like, by all means, all you got to do is right-click on the device and create a scream. I set it to the tape algorithm. I set the damage to about 36, so it is dirty. And then the P1 here, the speed, how bright the sound is, basically lower speed equals a little more darker sound, which is good. It's a good tape sound. It's a good thing. So we're going to set this to 34 and set the compression to about 12. Compression is very effective, and it can work against you as well. So if you set it too high, you're basically squashing the entire sound, all the transients, all the frequencies. It gets pretty muffled, so just be careful with that. And add a reverb just for a little wetness. Very simple. You can even keep it by the default initial patch of the reverb. Just right click, initialize patch, and set it to whatever you like. If you want 44 dry wet, keep everything the same. It's completely up to you how you'd like to do this. So let's take one last listen with just a little couple effects, and this is what we have. So yeah, when I added that reverb, it kind of drowned it out. So turn the dry wet down a bit, turn up the master or the damage on the scream, and you can do whatever you like with this. So that is it. That is the patch, and very, very simple, effective patch. I will be saving and making this available to you. So all we got to do is make it the ABB acid saw tutorial. And I will make that available for free, and definitely recommend just messing with it and seeing what you can do. And thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget, my new album is out, RNG, Random Number Generator. Go check it out. I'll have a link in the description. My Patreon is up. Any support is always greatly appreciated. Always want to, make this a full-time thing. So any support is godlike. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.